call on this. Okay, you can go for it, Pierre.
Right, welcome everyone, and in particular to Elaine and to Peter, new members on the committee. Thank you for being willing to contribute to the activities of the HACC, and I hope that you'll have a rewarding and an enjoyable term on the committee. All members are present, so there are no apologies. So that brings us to the next item on the agenda. That's election of the committee members, allocation of portfolio. And the first item there is to elect a chairman. We did discuss it before and in committee and also individually. Everyone knows that I'm stepping down, and Derek has agreed that he would be available as chairman. So I would like to propose Derek formally as chairman of the HACC.
Seconded.
Was there a second?
Seconded, yes.
I think Peter, yeah.
Okay. Any objections or any other proposals?
No.
All right. Well then, Eric, you are duly elected as the chairman of the HACC. Congratulations. And can I repeat the same wish to you? May you find it rewarding and enjoyable, and good luck. Over to you.
Thanks very much, Pierre. And of course, I don't think anybody would be able to fill in your shoes. And we're very glad that you're staying on to carry on with the sterling work which you've done so far. Where's Laura gone? Laura's back. Just admitting Laura back in again. Hi, Laura. Did you disappear there?
Yes, I had a glitch there. I don't know what happened, but suddenly it went off. I'm back again. Right. Thank you.
Did you miss anything there?
I just heard where Pierre had proposed you, and that's as far as I got tonight.
Okay. Unfortunately, nobody objected, so I am now chairman. Okay, and I was just saying thanks very much to Pierre so far, and I'm sure we'll have some sort of a celebration at some stage in recognition of his fantastic job as chairman and founder of the Romanus Astronomy Centre. And of course, for all the fantastic work he's going to carry on doing. All right, shall we then go into, do we need to then finalize the allocation of portfolios to the other committee members? I think let's just do that.
Yes, I think so. The first step is to elect a deputy chair.
Okay, I propose Pierre de Villiers as deputy chair. I don't know if you thought about that. Unless somebody else would like to stand as deputy chair. Anybody else proposing themselves?
Seconding Pierre.
Pierre, is that okay with you? I don't know.
Yes,
Thanks very much. I'm not sure if that's a normal thing anywhere that happens with. But in any case, it's just a small little club this. All right, so then I think as far as treasurer is concerned, Elaine has joined specifically to do the job of treasury, but Laura is carrying on for a while Elaine is very busy with other things, and until Laura has trained her up as to how everything works, then Elaine will take over, hopefully. Elaine, what was the date you were supposed to take over again, roughly intended?
Any time from the end of March. My daughter leaves at the end of March, so it's just, we've had 3 cancellations, so this will be the first time we'll see you in 4 years. So.
Okay, so I suppose Laura, are you leaving the committee or staying on after you stand down?
Yeah, no, it is my intention to leave the committee. I don't think I can contribute anything else if I'm not treasurer.
Okay,
Yeah.
will you be able to stay on in April as a sort of handover period for Elaine?
Yes, absolutely. Until, until things are completely, shall we say, comfortable.
Okay, and
Okay,
of course,
thank
Pierre is actually probably the biggest fundi on pastel and is also still around a little.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you for that, Laura.
No problem.
All right, and then in discussion before the meeting with Peter Kotze, Pierre had asked him, and he actually apparently volunteered to take over the chair of the lecture, the guest lecturers, and I think the newsletter as well. Is that right?
Yes, we had a discussion, but I don't want to be selfish and take everything for myself. So I'm quite happy to just take on one of these portfolios. If it is the newsletter thing, then I will try, and from my activities that I do on a daily basis, it's quite easily to put together a newsletter regarding astronomy activities. And as I see the current newsletter, it consists of two sections. One is HAC specifically related, and that means the meetings and what has been happened last month. And then the second session consists of astronomy news. So I'm quite happy to do the astronomy part. That's quite easy. I can do that very easily. That's not a problem. But I'm also willing to share the whole newsletter with somebody else who can put together the HAC specific activities. That then we can compile it as one newsletter if we want to continue on the same format as I've seen Jenny has done in the past. So that is what my feeling about this is. And if it is, the other section is on the lecture side, that's not too much of a big thing to take on. It is just that you need to have contacts in every hot and cold pipe to extract as appropriate speakers, because I see from the statistics of this center that it is one of the most popular attended venues on the calendar. So one cannot really slip up, and you have to pay your full attention and get speakers that provide the necessary, I would say, interesting stuff. Yeah. People will be chased away from it. So that is basically my feeling about it. But to take on two portfolios, I think it's a little bit stretching your strengths a little bit too far. So it must be either one or the other, or I have to share the newsletter stuff with somebody else.
Okay, fantastic. I think your expertise, I think perhaps what Pierre was about to say, your expertise is in knowing a lot of the very interesting presenters. I think if you can take that one and perhaps if you could be one of the contributors to astronomy input to the newsletters as you have time for, and then perhaps myself and Peter and Pierre can between us sort of write snippets and one of us can put it all together. Maybe yes, I'll do that if you like. Pierre, what would you suggest?
I would suggest that Peter keeps statistics of all activities. We get the attendance register from him on a monthly basis. And I think I'm now busy writing the history of the HAC for Manasseh and for the 100-year celebrations of ASA. And I've discovered that the newsletters, as well as Peter's attendance registers, are priceless sources of information for future reference. I've just got off a telephone call with Chris de Koning, who's the official archivist of ASA. And ASA is making available basically a Dropbox for every center as a backup for all their data. I will discuss the detail of it with you later, Derek, just to find out the easiest way of transferring. But I do think that Peter is in any case keeping the details of activities within the HACC. So if he could handle that, and Peter supplies the recent astronomy news, I think that would be ideal, because Peter's doing it in any case, and Peter's doing it in any case. So let's just combine the two. I fully support that suggestion from Peter, if Peter is available.
Peter, are you there?
Yeah, that's fine by me. Yep.
So what I'll do in future, I'll send the news stuff for the astronomy part to Peter Harvey, and then he will compile it in a complete document, if that is now the arrangement.
Okay. Peter, if you need assistance to compile the document, I'll help with that, with the sort of format editing and so on, if you want.
Okay. So I'll send it to you, Derek, everything, and then you can put together the whole thing, what has been called the Southern, whatever, Southern Cross newsletter, if I have it correctly.
Okay. All right. We've got a Peter here and a Peter, so we must try and say the names clearly. Maybe we must give them different names. I don't know.
I was just thinking exactly along those lines, and I was thinking if we can try and learn to say Peter and Peter, it should be distinguishable.
Maybe we must look like you do at boarding school, just say the surnames.
Yeah, or Peter K and Peter H, if you like.
Okay.
Or just pronounce English and Afrikaans, and there'll be no confusion.
Yeah.
Peter,
all right.
Yes.
Peter.
Okay. No, let's go. That's fine with me.
So put the potato in the mouth and take it out. Okay.
Okay. As long as it's hot, then it will do the trick.
Great. Are there any more allocation of portfolios that need to be sorted out? Is that it? Are we sorted now?
I think we should just record, also formally for the minutes and for future reference, that Peter has agreed to draft minutes of all the HACC meetings based on the recordings of the meetings that Derek will make available to him. I think it was just make it into the minutes.
Okay, yeah. I will back Peter up on that and help if I can. Is that okay? Again, Peter, we're asking.
Yeah, that's fine.
Shoulders again.
PH.
H. Peter Coates, you're not writing the minutes now suddenly.
No.
And if it all goes wrong, I'll just blame it on the other Peter.
Oh, okay.
Right.
It's complete annihilation at the end.
Okay. All right.
Eric, I'll assume I continue with the development portfolio.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
That would be with peers. PD will be assisting me on that where possible and trying to get some knowledge into my head. And PH has also been
Involved.
in attendance at some of our school efforts.
All right. You must let us know and discuss it if there are any problems which are difficult to handle and the sort of thing in that regard of who's doing what.
Yeah, we don't have recordings. They're not things that are recorded. So I'll just have to make sure that Peter H is in the loop with any stuff we're doing that might be of importance.
Yeah, is there a lot of facts to record actually and minutes in those proceedings? Is it not maybe worthwhile getting something that can record like a dictaphone, like the old style dictaphone? Little digital thing.
Yeah, I think what you do in the minutes of the meetings of these monthly meetings has normally historically covered adequately the things we've been busy with.
All right. Okay, so I think we've covered allocation of portfolios. I think that we haven't mentioned apologies, but I think there are no apologies, are there? All right. So now we need to, next item, approve the minutes of the HACC of 15th Feb. I think I had them up here if I can just find them. Sorry, I've got to just get a hold of them here for a minute. Oh, why can't I see them? Where's my screen gone? Sorry, okay, I've got it open, but I can't see an icon to click on anywhere, and I don't know how to get hold of it. It's in the Word format. Anybody approve the minutes?
They have been
Yeah,
circulated.
approved it.
Seconded.
Okay, nobody got any objections to that. Right. Okay, then the minutes of the AGM. Sorry, I'm just going to try another way of opening it here. No, that doesn't work either. Mystery. All right. Okay. Anybody willing to approve the AGM?
Approved.
Yeah. And
Seconded.
I'll second.
Okay, approved and seconded. Anything to discuss from the HACC minutes or AGM? Do I need to bring them up and check on any facts?
I
We
don't
all
think
have them already, so it should be fine.
Can I just once again, for minute purposes, just ask that the committee approves the minutes of the AGM provisionally. It's got to be formally approved at next year's AGM. But I think it's important to record that the committee approves it provisionally.
Okay, I found the one, but not the other. Annual general meeting minutes. All right. So sorry,
There we
Pierre,
go.
can you just repeat that? Pierre, repeat what you said now. Sorry, I wasn't concentrating.
The minutes, I think, should just mention that the committee approves the minutes of the annual general meeting, but they have to be formally approved at the next AGM in February 2023.
Okay,
The committee,
so recorded.
committee cannot approve it by itself,
All right.
but it recommend it to the AGM for approval.
Okay, can we record that then, minute taker, as so recorded that the committee approves of the minutes, but it will be fully approved by the full meeting at the next AGM, February 2023. All right. Now I've lost the agenda. All right. Next item, Treasurer's report. Are you ready for that?
Yes. The net income for the year to the end of February, 7726.94. Total assets as per balance sheet, 828,898.82. Standard Plus Plan, 61719.31. Standard Current Account, 766,879.51. and cash on hand 300 Rand. Net income excluding NLC expenses 7896.94 and net assets excluding NLC funds 62019.31. I paid Peter in February for January and February together, a total of 85.10, and it's 2 times 42.55. Derek's refund for his Zoom costs is paid in March, but that will be or has been paid, and it is a total of 543.93. January was 273.64. and February 270.29. Johan Retief has contacted or sent an email actually to Elaine regarding the membership fees that were overpaid and she has kindly agreed to donate the amount of 65 Rand to the solar system model repairs. And then the 3,000 Rand from the hikers has been reallocated to educational outreach, and it's been taken out of the solar system model repair. That's it from me.
Okay, have any of the new members got any questions, being new to our numbers?
I would just like to confirm the status of the insurance for the projector. I'm under the impression that it was covered by John Saunders' insurance policy, short-term insurance policy. Has it been formally transferred to Peter's insurance, or must it still be done, Peter?
It hasn't been done. In fact, that has slipped my mind. I apologize. But I shall have to contact Irene to talk about it, although she said she doesn't want to be contacted, but I have to in this case. Maybe I'll just send her an email. So, yeah.
She is back in circulation, so, you know, I'm sure she won't mind if you contact her now.
Okay. Maybe I'll give it a week or so before I do.
Yes, quite.
Okay, but that is, it is in your possession with the rest of the equipment, is that right, Peter?
Yes. Actually, it's at John's house still. So I think he was using it for bird club at times, or for his own purposes or something like that. And I think that's why he was quite happy to look after the insurance. But I'll have to arrange with Irene to collect it, I think, and bring it through here. I'm sure she'll be quite happy with that.
Okay, that just
Unless she wants to use it, Mr. Chairman, unless Irene wants to continue to use it, because we don't use it at the moment.
yeah, we're not, I mean, we would have used it in a lecture hall at a physically attended lecture.
But it must just be discussed with Irene.
All right. And no more questions on the Treasurer's report. Can we carry on to the next item? All right. Membership, current membership, JR's lists. Are there any queries, comments on that? Sorry, find the right document here.
Yeah, he said 55, and I made it, I agree, 55, but the official is 55.
All right, nothing to add to there. Hopefully with the fantastic lectures that Pierre Kotze is going to organize, we'll grow that a bit.
Anyway, just an interesting comment from my side. I noticed that the membership of this center has got a very nice cyclic behavior. It starts off high, then goes down in about 3 years' time, and then it's growing again. So it got a periodicity of around about 3 years. So I don't know what is the physical reason behind it. Now it's in a downward phase again. So hopefully, like the solar cycle, it will start climbing again. Sun start to rise.
Yeah,
I'm sure COVID had a lot to do with it.
Yes, it could be. I understand that. And also, I think a lot of people join this center from a social point of view. And with the social activities now in a declining phase, they're also declining of interest in that. So that's my own sort of explanation from a novice point of view.
Yeah, I do currently notice a decline in the stats, the viewership stats of the Facebook page as well as the web page. So it's a bit worrying. So I'd like to try and get to the bottom of that. Maybe we will spread some rumors about aliens or comets or something. I don't know.
It's
Just a comment. It's interesting that Peter picked up that trend. He's quite correct. There are a number of members that said They don't like Zoom, or they miss the socializing afterwards. Two of them were very outspoken, in fact. So that is a valid comment. But I also, since I've now looked at numbers for the history of the HAC, our numbers peaked at about over 110. But the people that were actively participating in the activities of the HAC has remained very, very similar.
Very stable.
And I think that's a trend which is experienced at other centers as well. But I do think, as I said in the chairman's report, we need to attract new and probably different members. And I think that MICFIN's activities in that regard are quite important.
Yeah, I agree with that fully. All right. While we're on the topic, then, as far as attendance of meetings, physical meetings, and COVID, what is the current thinking on that? I mean, are we ever going to get back to physical meetings? It does seem to be, as has just been mentioned, a bit of a sore point with some of the members that we do not attend physical meetings.
You know, if I may just,
yeah,
if I just offer an opinion here. Yeah, it's nice to have physical meetings. It's nice to socialize. I think we can achieve exactly the same thing on a Zoom meeting. And if we can try and encourage as many people as possible to have a video cam, that would also help in the sort of togetherness. I have to confess I don't have a video cam myself, so I'd have to be one of the ones who must do something about that. Also, we've attracted a few members. I can't think of the number of members who have joined from distant parts, like Pete Scully in Durban, and I think he's been extremely useful to us. We've got a couple of other members from a distance away. And I think it's good to have them. Doug Bullis, for example, is another one. So I think that there's sort of swings and roundabouts here.
well,
And also, if we do have a physical meeting, if we're going to, we must either chuck out those people, or they're not going to be interested, or we're going to have to do physical and Zoom together. And I don't know how our finances stand on that one.
Yeah, that's a problem. I think possibly the social aspects of it can be met if we can have the stargazing, physical stargazing meetings, which was so well attended the other night, which was organized between Pierre and the hiking group and the schools and so on. So, I mean, that was very well attended. I don't know if one or two of those have joined the club since then.
That was, of course, mainly an outreach thing. And as far as members of the club members are concerned, most of it was people operating telescopes, committee people, and that sort of thing. We did a couple of others, yeah.
So
I think we must accept that Zoom meetings are here to stay. It would be very difficult to stop that, because a lot of people throughout the country have become aware of HAC activities and participate in it. So I think we must accept that Zoom meetings are here to stay. So I think the issue is, if we go back to physical meetings, it'll have to be physical and Zoom, and then we will need equipment which I don't think we do have at this stage. Derek, you need quite a bit of bandwidth for video recording,
yeah,
which you have at home. But we want a Catholic hall. So I would suggest, and I will discuss it with you, Seb, just try and quantify what would be the cost involved of going changing over to hybrid meetings.
Yeah, you'd obviously then look to get enough bandwidth. You'd need something like a cell phone data link, which would give you probably, hopefully, at least 40 megabits connection.
Certainly, I think the person who would advise well on that is Gert Potgieter, because he has been the U3A Zoom expert, and he's put all their major presentations, and they have gone the both ways route. So as most churches are as well, is to slowly feed back into the physical presence as well as the Zoom. And as you say, I think the real benefit of Zoom is going to be its reach without having to kind of physically move things, but also, and possibly the speakers are an obvious one where you would have the coverage of enough people paying an entrance fee to be covering the cost of a hall. Obviously, all the technology that's available in the Catholic Hall is known by Gert as well, because that's where he does it, and he also edits all the presentations. But he has on that committee kind of wanted to dedicate a little more time to his family issues. His wife is not so well at the moment, and so he's not looking for extra work, but he certainly is the one who understands both. And I think he is still one of our members, is he not?
Sorry, who was that? I missed the name, Mick.
Gert.
Gert Klaas.
Oh, Gert. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I suggest that you speak to Gert about all the infrastructure that's required? Maybe we can reach agreement with U3A that we can use their equipment for a reasonable fee, which will benefit them to some extent and benefit us, I think, even more. But I think you being the one that hosts all our meetings, I suggest that you discuss the implications with Gert.
Yeah, and the chairmanship of the U3A has moved to Rod Pringle now too. So there is a new chairman. So he does all the liaising with the Catholic Hall for the and obviously all the all the costs that are associated with technology.
Okay, I've made a note to speak to Gert. Can somebody just remember to ask me whether I have done it every now and then?
Can I just make a small comment from my side? I think we can really consider using SANZA's new Space Weather Center in future, because they have a new Space Weather Center right at the entrance. It will be open 24/7, so there won't be any security issues like in the past. And they have an auditorium with all the latest bells and whistles that you can think of using. So one can really pursue that avenue and see whether we can use that venue for our lectures instead of the Catholic Hall, which served the purpose. But if we can do the hybrid meeting in that auditorium of the new Space Weather Center at SANZA, I think that will kill everything that we need to do.
Sorry, Peter.
Yes.
That would be a wonderful idea, but the reason we went from there was because they wanted to charge an astronomical amount every evening for the meetings, and we couldn't afford it.
Oh, I see. Now, but that's a new venue, and let's see, and we can discuss things and open up and see what might be the case. So we don't have to go back and see that history will repeat itself. Maybe that's a new way of doing things, and maybe they want exposure. And I can also have a chat with the MD and see what we can arrange in that regard.
Peter, you've obviously got the best contacts there. Can you talk to them on our behalf? And just get the
I will do that yes, I can do that as soon as that center starts operating. But it's still in the building phase, but I think towards in the next month or two, it will become operational, and then we can have a discussion about it. I think the main issue that we had past when I was still at SANZA was the security issue and locking up afterwards. Now it's not anymore. Yeah, It's not the case anymore because it's a 24/7 center and there will be people on a constant basis. So there's no things that we need to lock up and pay for the security guard and whatever thing. So I think things have changed a little bit, but we need to have a discussion on that.
Would you like one or more of us to discuss that with them, with you, or is it better if you just speak to them?
I can just speak to them. That's not a problem, but we'll have to make an appointment and see how we can arrange things. But I'm feeling that is the optimum for, and then we can have a hybrid meeting quite easily and broadcast even to NASA if it's.
Oh, that's it. We can go on NASA TV.
Yes.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, Peter, it was an instruction from head office that the amount that they had to charge because of the renovations to the auditorium that we were using.
Yeah, okay, now I understand completely, but let's have a talk anyway and see.
Yes, absolutely. If you can pull some strings there in the right direction, that would be wonderful.
Now, pull strings or chains or whatever might be the case.
Quite.
I think Peter has hit the nail on the head. I think the bean counters were eyeing the costs which are to be incurred because of security and so on, which wouldn't have been incurred if we hadn't been using the hall. So I think if that's being incurred anyway in a 24-hour center, that might be the breakthrough.
Yes.
Fine.
My suggestion is let's pursue that avenue and see what transpires from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I just add, the security was an issue, but the main driving force was a directive from head office when SANZA, well, all the facilities were forced to become more commercial, and head office objected to making expensive facilities available free of charge. So that's the main reason where the cost driver came from. But I think Peter is very meaningful. Discuss it with the MD and see what the possibilities are.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for that, Peter. Okay, can we move on? Is there anything else on that topic? Can we move on to the solar system model then, Pierre?
Very briefly, I think nothing as much has changed since the last meeting. I actually intend, depending on the weather, to put back Uranus tomorrow. The epoxy that was used to affix it to the plinth was intact, but the base on which it came off. So I'm going to use a different epoxy, one which is thinner and can penetrate the porous substrate deeper as a first layer, and then it's almost like instant glue. Put it on again, and I will do the same with Pluto, which was last stolen within 24 hours. I hope to do that tomorrow. And then there's also, I think, one of the other Perspex covers that needs refixing, and I'll use exactly the same epoxy for that.
Are you referring to the sun's cover, Pierre?
The sun, and Earth was repaired by the subcontractor when he did that. Yeah, then it would be the sun.
Okay. I'm just surprised that the Perspex hasn't had legs and walked away by now.
Yeah.
There's probably no second-hand value for it.
Well, it could make a window in somebody's shack. It's just a bit big to be inconspicuous carrying it away, I suppose.
Okay, then can I move on, Mr. Chairman, to the GPAD? I must confess that I've not contacted NLC again. I actually want to, Laura, if you're available on Friday, get the NLC quarterly report and then send it off to Akona and ask when we can expect a response to our submission in December already. But I would like to add our latest quarterly report to do that before I start pressing her.
The next one is only the end of March. End of this month.
Have we done the previous one? Because I was
Yeah, the
going.
one you picked up from me was to the end of December.
Oh, so that is the latest. Right.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll send her an email and just ask when we can expect the response.
Yeah.
And in the same vein, while we're talking about GPAED, the AGM did approve the finances. Sorry, I should have mentioned it under that. So we did discuss it at previous meetings. I think the treasurer can now send everything to Don Adams, and then we must discuss the various changes to the founding documents as the members of the HAC NPC are going to change, or in fact have changed. So just set it up. I think, Laura, if you could do that and maybe schedule it for April when Elaine is available, so that she could go through the whole routine with the auditor.
Yeah.
But we do need to do that, and there's quite a lot of decisions that need to be made there, taken there.
In actual fact, I had an email from Lynn Silliphant. I just got it when I came back a bit earlier. And she said, you know, she realizes our year end is December 31st. So, you know, we are sort of can now send in our things. Did we last year give the minute book to them to go through?
I don't think so. I was going to pick up the sign the last minutes and pick up the minute book and transfer it basically to Peter and Derek to sign in future. But I'm not quite sure. I think Jenny liaised directly with Don if it was required. I was not aware of that.
Now I'm just trying to think, maybe I sent them on email, but to be actually 100% correct, it should be the minute book because that's official. I could send anything that's, you know, the minutes on paper. I might send the draft one by mistake. Not
Okay.
that I would, but
I think
yeah.
the issue is, must you submit the documents now before Elaine takes over, or do we want to hold it back until Elaine can witness the whole process?
I'll have a word with Lynn and ask her what do they want, and do they want something, shall we say, in advance that they can start working on. Maybe they've got a bit of spare time now. That's why they approached me. So I will have a word with her. Is that okay?
No, that's fine.
Actually, if it's at all possible, you know, I'd like to be involved with that just so that I can learn a bit.
Okay, okay, fine. Right, I'll have a word with her then and ask her if it's all right if we leave it until you are ready to actually come and see what's going on here. Thank you.
All right, can we move on to outreach? Is there anything more on projects? Can we move on to outreach, youth groups, the Astronomy Center? Who's going to speak on that? Youth groups, Mick?
Yeah, we actually had our record number of attendees of the cliff path walking. That I'm including that on the development as well, because part of the outreach there is the member who runs the astronomy club in Zwelishle. But I had over a dozen people for a special tour that I arranged with Frida for my university 53-year gathering of the old class, as it were. And that went very well. Frida introduced it well too, and Derek and I have had a meeting with her at the old train station center this morning, the tourism center, because there are now four desks in the office, what we've known always as the office to display all the brochures. There are now 4 desks, one of which is set forward a bit from where we have displayed the solar system. The person who's sitting in that desk hasn't yet arrived, so we looked at it with her. They're very keen to leave it where it is. One time they were talking, and I think I might have mentioned to the committee that they were thinking of moving it into another back room, which would not have been appropriate. But I think we agreed, Derek, with her this morning that it's good where it is, and I think they'll do everything they can to make sure if we have as much as a dozen people there, that there's room for that to be done effectively. I think what really impressed the people that I had there was the sort of 3 levels that it's done. The one at the level of the both the actual Lacania made imitations which are on the cliff path are the same size as that National Geographic sort of presentation. And then there's the 300mm sun that we use when we take the moon and use that as the sun, so that people can step out for 12 meters, 22 meters, etc., to realize just how small everything in the universe is. And then they go to the 900mm sun, which is the one that's at the playground there by Fusion. And we normally go back as far as about Jupiter, that they have a feel that it's there for their to be taken at leisure as they go along and do it themselves. Otherwise, it's still not many people coming. The change time, we've moved to midday on the to 11 o'clock on the Thursday to align with the 11 o'clock sensor visit on the Wednesday. It was just felt that to have half-hour differences might confuse people, but at this stage, I don't think any extra traffic has resulted. I think the thing I'm going to try and align with is the Cliff Path Society as well. I want to see Anina Lee and just see to what extent they'll also be keen to market it as part of what they offer on the Cliff Path, because these things I think all work as well when they tied together with this sort of a collaborative arrangement rather than a competitive one. The sensor one, just as a matter of interest, which happens on the Wednesday morning, was also part of my 1969 university group, and of that dozen that I had there at both these shows, the one on the Cliff Path and then on Wednesday at the Sensor Center, more than a third of them are doctors, so they were an intelligent group. And I think particularly of interest at Sensor to them was that all the presentations were given by people of color, which some of those who came from overseas, were not quite expecting, and were really impressed with the level at which it was done. But as Peter said, the actual sensor is going to change. At the moment on the tour, as impressive as it was, there's still, like the museum stuff, is just a lot of stuff they've picked up historically, which they're going to actually represent in that new building as a proper museum. And they've got an American chap who's seconded himself for a while to actually help them do that sort of presentation. But I think you're right that once these things are happening in the new center, as it were, you might be paying kind of US dollar rates to start going and having visits and so on. But right now, it was a very impressive presentation at a very effective cost. Yeah, I think the school out, all these things blend into each other, but Pierre has organized another Mount Pleasant presentation, which I couldn't make, unfortunately. I had to go collect one of my visitors from the airport at the time we were due to meet Mount Pleasant, but he had a introductory meeting there. And the schools are back, so we can be getting the sundial project on the go there too. Pierre, I don't know if you want to expand on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything further?
I actually want to, it's also on my do list to phone. I've been at Matches Valley and at the family wedding, so I've been out of circulation for a while. But I want to set up an appointment with Lucania for them to visit the solar system model, because their children, last year's children, painted it, and she's very keen on that. And also want to go through the design with the grade 7s, the design of their analematic sundial, and just touch up the paintwork. So there's quite a bit of work, but the ball is actually effectively in Zim's hands. But I will phone her again tomorrow.
Good, thanks, Pierre. The whale crier has continued to show interest in trying to align. He also came and did the sensor presentation with me. And sensor itself, it was actually their CEO who recommended to me that we do it as a separate group, because we were quite a large group. I think we were about 20, and she was very keen that we do it separately, and that was done by the person that and I wrote to thank them afterwards, and she wrote back and said, look, if you're interested in knowing what's if you want to, with Zoom, although these people have gone back to their overseas destinations, if they want to put together a Zoom to further discuss how the new 24/7 operation is going to operate, she's very happy to do that as well. So I think that the kind of feeling of outreach, and certainly the kids also in that actual hall, the last part of the tour, is actually seeing real satellites and all sorts of gimmicky toy and sort of models of what happens at the Antarctic. You've met people as you go on the tour who are due to go to the Antarctic for 4 or 5 months. So it all comes together, and I think one gets a feel of just how crucial it is, not only in terms of astronomy. I mean, it's just as far as the sun that you're dealing with, but it is hugely important for both aviation travel and sea neutralization of magnetism for submarines, and it's a very interesting tour. So I'm hoping all these things will come together as we proceed developing across the line. But your actual Pierre, I forget his name, or is the member who you paid for to join, and I got him on that tour, and you told me to just make sure that he was kind of contained within our agenda. He's amazingly active on Facebook, and I think you keep abreast of that, and he seems to have quite a following. Certainly the Speaker of the House who arrived at the presentation when he was there was the one who said he would get the mayor, and when the Lucania kids are there, he'd love to actually have that. So I think we do need to, it's just, as I say, they're all things that are happening independently, but we need to ensure that it's done within whatever standards you as the astronomy club want it to be done. I think that's the end of my report there.
Yeah, thanks, Mick. Can we any more on that? Anybody, any contribution?
Yes, regarding the Zweliger Astronomy Center, I've just got a message from Indy that the ward councillor is now.
Just, I'm not sure. Is it better when I speak through these earphones, or is it better when I'm doing it without them? Can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, we can. I can hear you clearly now.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, you were saying, Pierre?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I just got a message from Indy. The ward councillor is back from the Eastern Cape, and he's asking when we will be available to meet with him. But since discussing it with Indy last time, that building has been completely destroyed. absolutely, completely destroyed. But I think the first step is we have to speak to the ward councillor and the municipality. So when would you be available, Mr. Chairman? I thought you said time is in short supply this week.
Yeah.
I'll discuss it with you after the meeting and then I'll get back to Indy. But the next step is to meet the ward councillor and the municipality on Yalaroo.
In the next 4 days, I'm doing about 48 hours of work per day.
So next week.
Next week, yeah.
Okay.
Preferably not on a Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday or Friday.
Wednesday's your day.
So Wednesday, Saturday or Sunday?
Yes. All right, I'll try and work around whatever his schedule is that he can fit in. Okay. Is that okay, Pierre?
Yes, that's fine.
All right, can we move on then to calendars if there's nothing else? Let me just get the correct calendar. Have we got any urgent issues to sort out on the calendar? We're into... right, on the 21st, we've got Chris Stewart, so that's sorted, is it? And in April, we agreed to have nobody. Hello, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, got you.
Okay, is there anything that needs to be discussed on the calendar now? Any questions?
Yes, there are still 2 open slots. Jenny did send a list of the confirmed guest speakers for the year. I'm not sure whether Peter got it, but I think she sent it to you, Derek, but I think we must send it to all the committee and definitely to Peter.
I haven't seen it. I'll have to search for it. Maybe I've missed it.
There are still 2 slots, so maybe we can now call up Peter's vast contacts in the country and overseas for speakers for the 2 vacant slots.
Yeah, I see it's May and August.
Yeah, that's what I see, May and August.
Yeah, and then Martin Snow is not, I think it's a typing error. He should be at monthly meeting and not at HACC.
Yeah. That's a typing error.
That's just a typo error.
Should be
My fault. Sorry, I see it's on the wrong line. It should
Yeah,
be.
that's a minor, but just as a matter of interest. Now, I would like to have a list from Jenny, what she has in mind, what she had prepared, and then I can work from there on to see how I can fill the other 2 remaining slots that are still gaping gaps.
Okay, between Pierre and myself, we will get the info to you, Peter.
Thanks very much.
Next item is HACC meeting date and time. Well, it was on the calendar. April. Is that on the 12th of April then, next meeting? Everybody okay with that?
Sorry, I've got my speaker back on again now. Yeah, I just wanted to try and establish, I know that our sort of club meetings, monthly and cosmology and so on, that's more difficult to change. But HACC, I'm sure, could be flexible. I would personally, my own view is I would like to get away from this dependence upon the 6:30 time in the evenings. I mean, today 4 o'clock is fine, but that just happens to suit the load shedding schedule. But I do feel that the HACC meetings could be flexible, although we'll set a date and a time. But I feel if nobody else objects, it should be flexible.
Yeah, I'm happy to work around a sort of 4 o'clock time or even in the morning, whatever suits most people. Vic, I think, does all sorts of tennis and rugby games and whatever in the afternoon. So how do the
I
other?
do appreciate that people like Mick and also Peter Kotze, and Derek himself, they've got sort of day jobs, and it could be a problem, but
No, I've got no day job. It's only my hobby, and that is research. So I can do that 24 hours a day, but basically
okay. And Elaine?
I'm a professional holiday maker at the moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I run a little Spanish group, but that's just once a week and it's on a Wednesday afternoon.
Okay, so generally the
And
Tuesday.
Derek, I mean, you've got a day job.
Yeah, look, I can generally this time of the year right now is normally very busy, and the rest of the time I can shuffle things around, unless there's a particular client that can only meet at a certain time or something. But that's a rare occurrence. All right, so we're with you on that, Peter. Let's
Okay, good.
Can we for the moment to actually talk about a time like this sort of time we had today, or even in the morning?
I would like to say an 11 o'clock meeting. I reckon 11 o'clock in the morning is absolutely great, provided everybody else is happy with that.
Can you send the reminder out earlier than next time, at least 10 days before the meeting?
Yep.
Just check
Okay.
that everybody's okay with the new time.
Okay, that's fine.
Laura,
11 o'clock on a Tuesday is not okay for me, but I mean, that would only probably be for next month. So I have the cleaner comes in at 11, so it's definitely not an option on a Tuesday.
All right, let's look at the Tuesday afternoon for next month then, but then maybe a different time in the ensuing month.
Yeah, the afternoon's okay.
Okay. All right. Meetings.
Okay, got that.
Anything else on that? Is that okay? Meetings, cosmology, 16th of March. Didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't
going
happen.
to
What
happen.
happened last night,
Going
Derek? Did anybody call you? Did anybody?
No,
join
I
up?
put it on. Everybody must have got the message. Nobody tried to log on.
Okay, all right.
Okay, astrophotography next week.
Next Monday, yeah.
Monthly is sorted. Stuart. Study group is then tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
Yeah, I've got
I got my
I've
date.
had a
Oh, no,
request.
that's right.
I've had a request to assist some people arriving from Germany tomorrow evening, sort out their TV. We'll have to do that either before the meeting or after the meeting. So let's carry on with the study group then at 6:30. Yeah?
I
So it is
believe
fine, yeah.
the load shedding will continue till Saturday. So just be aware of that when load shedding will kick in, because it will apparently be for the whole of this week.
All right.
Load shedding through till Saturday, yeah.
Till Saturday, yes.
The topics listed on the agenda here are the cosmology topics, not the study group topics, are they?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
study group tomorrow night is not affected by load shedding.
Not okay. All right. The previous study group, is there any comment on that? I think we've covered that. 5 members, more visitors, 9th of February. It was a bit of
Yeah,
a
I'm trying to
low
remember what it
attendance.
was. It's on the some of the stats there. Action stats. Just a quick look here. The last study group was synchronicity and faster than the wind. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting. All right.
Well,
Very
that was
interesting. Both of them
fascinating.
extremely interesting.
Okay.
I'm actually hoping, if I may just speak out here, I'm really hoping that the newsletter will also reflect study group, which it hasn't up to now, because I think Jenny said that she didn't believe it was an official meeting. But I do think it should be in there. It's in the calendar on the website. And I push out a monthly advice of events. They're always there as well.
Peter, it seems like between you and I and Pierre and Peter, we will be editing the newsletter and slapping. So if you can write a little paragraph on that next time. So let's start a bit of a new tradition there.
No, that'd be great.
Can I suggest that we refer this to the person that's going to coordinate that, and that is Peter H.
Okay.
So it should be in there because it's definitely part of the activities of the HAC, and I think that is one of the omissions which perpetuated for too long. So it needs to be rectified.
It's a bit of what do you call it, advertising and so on as well, as helps to make it more visible. Okay, so on the communication website newsletter, congratulations to the people who are going to edit the new newsletter, and thanks very much to Jenny, all the work she's done so far. By the way, the things that Jenny has got with her, is there anything that we need to get and move to, or okay for things to stay with her? Who's got the official minute books and things like that? She's still got it?
Jenny has got them. That's what I tried to pick up today, but we couldn't coordinate. So I will be contacting her tomorrow morning, and if she's available, then I'll pick it up tomorrow and sign all the final minutes. She's volunteered at the last committee meeting that she has got space to keep the other stuff of the HAC that she has there, but the latest minute book must go to the secretary. So I will sign it, collect it, and make sure that it gets to Peter. I think the next time I go to Laura. But she did say last time that she's got space to keep other stuff of the HAC. Unless you want to take it, Derek.
I think that's fine. Okay, Sky Maps, congratulations again to Peter for a sterling job, which he keeps on continuing, one of the many things he does there. On the website and Facebook page, the stats, I don't know, Peter, should I send them to you? Because I used to send them to Jenny.
Yes, absolutely, please.
So
and that's another thing on the website, is the study group's not mentioned there. It's in the calendar, but not in your little blurb. So I was going to talk to you about that.
Make notes of anything changes I need to make. And then also, you know, the decreasing stats on viewings of website and Facebook is a bit worrying. And I think Peter Kotzer mentioned possibly some things we can do about that. So any input, please, welcome. How we can improve those. Maybe people are moving away from Facebook now and then sticking to WhatsApp or something else. I don't know. Fashions change, I think, sometimes. Right, any other comments on those? Any other comments on communication? Sorry, what did you say, Mick?
I think there's a lot more people that have gone on Zoom and offered the same, same sort of stuff. As I said, the U3A lecture on photons yesterday, I think it was almost like an astronomy cosmology talk to me. So there are lots of people in that sort of online space as well. So there's
okay. Maybe I'll get some good tips from Gert when I speak to him.
Yeah.
Right. Anything on any other business? Let's do the rounds as you're always used to.
Chairman, I think there was a glaring omission in the agenda.
Yes.
The committee has not formally extended its condolences to Irene with John's sad passing. I did respond to her on behalf of myself and the HAC, but I also think it needs to be recorded in the minutes of this committee as well. I don't think anything further needs to be done, but we must just record that we do. We were shocked to hear of his sad passing, and the HAC's condolences have been extended to Irene and the family.
Okay, I did post the gist of the body of your communication without the headings and the endings on Facebook. I hope you're okay with that. I didn't ask you. So that was on there as well. So I think thanks for that. Yeah, it's a good call. That should be recorded in the minutes.
Will do.
Okay, can we then move on to any other business? Elaine, have you got anything to raise?
No, nothing at all.
And
Thanks,
Mick?
Derek.
Thanks, Elaine. Mick, anything else? Mick, can you hear me? Seems like we've dropped Mick.
Yeah, he's just moved off his camera there, I see.
Peter, have you got anything extra?
Nothing from me.
Laura, anything extra?
No, nothing from me, thank you.
Peter Kotzer, anything to add, please?
No, thank you very much.
Mr. Pierre Villiers, anything to add?
Nothing.
All right, thanks very much. Committee members, holidays, anything to note there? Everybody going to be available for the next meeting?
Yeah, no problem.
I think I might go away in May sometime. All right, the next HACC meeting, Tuesday the 12th, probable time, then 4 p.m. when you Zoom. And we'll see you all next time.
4 p.m.
Thank you very much for
Okay.
attending, and thanks to all the new members for contributing.
It was
Okay.
rather lucky we did actually change the time today, because that's two committee members that wouldn't have been able to make it today who did make it. So
Okay.
that was good.
Fortunate.
Mick?
Great.
Sorry, Mick missed the any other business. Did you have anything, Mick?
No, sorry, I just another call came through. I have got to run now, but you are finishing the meeting anyway, aren't you?
Yes, which we're done now. Thanks very much, Mick, and thanks to everybody.
Thank you. And thanks for your help today.
All
Thanks
right.
to everyone. Thanks, Mr. Chairman, and good evening.
Okay,
Thanks,
thanks for the
Derek.
continued
Thank you,
contribution.
everyone.
You-
Have a good evening. Bye.
Yes, thank
Right. Bye-bye then, and thank you, Derek.
you.